I've heard it's the strongest energy we have, right? Because it can make life.
Yes.
So to be able to channel it, and there's certain people that purposely don't have sex at all, you know what I mean? Just so they could channel
use
it.
that energy to channel.
Right.
Absolutely.
Sexual transmutation, I think they call it.
People see God. You know, it's a real thing when they people have seen God.
Really? From an
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, you become
can't relate
the
to that.
oneness.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Elisabeth Carson, just got married to Billy.
Yes, I did.
I had to update the name because I had your old last name.
I know, they said Elizabeth Hoekstra out there. I was like, oh, it's Carson.
Congrats. Where'd you guys have the wedding at?
We had it in Bora Bora, actually.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was like a dream wedding, honestly.
Nice.
It was.
Yeah, Billy just came on. He said you guys traveled 9 months last year.
Oh my God, we did a lot. We did a lot of traveling. I mean, it was like unreal, the amount of traveling we did,
Which location stood out to you as some of your favorites, you'd say?
Okay, so I have to say Cambodia.
Okay.
Because I'm a nature girl. I love nature. I love being in the wilderness. And I took the deepest breath of fresh air that I've ever taken in my life out there. Oh my God, it was great. So we walked through the jungle and I was sitting on the edge of this cliff, smiling in my own zone. And
beautiful.
Yeah, no, I loved it. We went to a waterfall and it's just the feminine energy over there is so strong. And it just felt different to me. It kind of felt like I've had lives there or something, to be honest. Yeah, it felt very familiar. And I loved it. And of course, Bora Bora.
I got to get out to both.
Yes.
I've never been to either of those. Cambodia's in Africa, right?
Cambodia is in Asia.
Oh, it's in Asia?
Yeah,
wow.
Egypt is in Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Egypt is in Africa.
I didn't know that. Okay.
We went there too. We stayed there for about a month last year, actually.
Nice. Yeah, nothing like when I go to Jersey, I get some fresh air. Because out here in the desert, I mean, not many trees.
It's so dry.
My lips be chapped every day.
I know, right?
But yeah, I'd love to talk about the importance of grounding, earthing, and like what your procedure is for doing it.
Oh my God. So this has been a passion project for me since I found out about it and started doing it. So I'm not talking about the kind of grounding where you're, sitting there and grounding your energy. I'm talking about the literal transfer of negative ions into the body, right? Which all of your cells in your body need electrons to function properly. So by grounding yourself to the Earth's surface, because there's an abundance of negative ions all over the Earth's surface, hands to the ground, feet to the ground, you actually suck up all those electrons inside of your body. And by doing so, it lowers inflammation within your body. It regulates your nervous system. If you're in a stress response, it will put your nervous system back into homeostasis. The effects of grounding have changed my life so significantly that I've literally dedicated half of my work and things that I talk about to grounding, because my end goal is to really ground more than 1 million people on the planet. And I know that we're well on our way to do so. I actually co-wrote a book with Olivia Smith from Earthing. And she's partnered right with Clint Ober, the man that rediscovered grounding in the late 1990s. We wrote a book together and it's out, and now we're making it into a series. It's called The Mother Earth Effect.
Beautiful.
Yeah, a serious passion project for us. So
yeah, that's cool. And I know you've had a total 360, right? You used to be a model, an actress. You were in the entertainment industry. How long were you there?
Wow. Well, I started modeling when I was young, probably about 15 years old. And, back when MySpace, okay, I'm saying my age now. So back when MySpace was big, I got big on MySpace.
Okay.
So I became like the video vixen. I was doing music videos and TV shows and magazine spreads. I was traveling all over the country doing like appearances and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that life, it was fun. I think I stopped really working in it probably when I turned about 23, 24 years old.
Okay.
I got burnt out.
8-9 years. That's a long time in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have seen some stuff there.
Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of stuff. It was just the drugs and alcohol. It was a normal thing out there, everywhere you went, every party you went to, it was like, hey, you want bump? So it was super normal. So all of that stuff is normalized, and it became really crazy for me to see. I remember I was at this one party, and it was just, I literally did feel like I was in hell's version on earth. It was really mad. Like there were naked people walking around with plates of drugs on them, just orgy in this room, orgy in that room. It was I was like, okay.
That is gross.
A little much for me.
Yeah, and I know you believe in sexual energy transfers, right?
Yes.
So sex is super intimate, and you know there's
Absolutely.
people out here sleeping with tons of people, and you don't know what you're kind of absorbing into your body, right?
Yeah. Well, first let's talk about some stats. The fact that syphilis is up 900%.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, STDs for teenagers and young adults right now has skyrocketed. I mean, it's like I was just looking at the stuff with Billy there. I'm like, I'm really glad I'm married right now. But
I remember when I was at Rutgers College, syphilis, the whole fraternity got it because this one girl. Crazy.
oh my God. Okay, so that freaks me out. But no, it's just, if people could understand how important sexual energy is and how powerful it is, then a lot more people out here would be more careful about who they share their bodies with, because there is a transfer of energy, there's an intertwining of energy, and there's also, you're taking on that person's trauma, you're taking on that person's who they've been with trauma. I mean, it gets very dirty and messy energetically. And that's just energy. Let's talk about the body. I mean, your body gets intertwined with all these different people, and it's like a too high amount of stimulus coming in, right? And now your thoughts are messy, right? Your body feels junky.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all energetic too. It's just it can really mess people up.
Absolutely. So both the man and the woman are absorbing it, or is it one-sided?
Yes, I think both of the man and the woman absorb the energy when they intertwine with each other. And I think it's specifically stronger for a woman just because a man enters a woman, right? So we hold the temple, so we're taking everything in. I mean, if people just knew sexual energy, it can be enlightening for people. You can reach enlightenment through sexual energy. So it's like, why would you use this beautiful, strong, powerful, manifesting energy and share it with the world? Or share it with people that are undeserving?
I've heard it's the strongest energy we have, right? Because it can make life.
Yes.
So to be able to channel it, and there's certain people that purposely don't have sex at all, you know what I mean? Just so they could channel
use
it.
that energy to channel.
Right.
Absolutely.
Sexual transmutation, I think they call it.
People see God. It's a real thing. When they orgasm, people have seen God.
Really? From an orgasm?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, you become the oneness. You become what that feeling, what the oneness, what the whole is, because you literally lose yourself into this high vibe frequency, and you feel everything. You become the one. Damn,
you be having some good sex out here. Get me there. I want to talk about therapy, right? So that's a term that people throw around, like if you have mental problems, go to therapy, right? I've tried it personally, didn't really work on me. What's your take on the therapy industry?
So I believe therapy is important. I think it's really important, but not for the fact to rid yourself of trauma that you've taken on through your life, and childhood trauma and ancestral trauma. I think you have to go a little deeper than therapy, but what therapy is good for is self-reflection. So what the therapist is doing for you is they're creating a mirror so you can then see what's going on with yourself, and you can then self-reflect, because, and then also when you speak things out loud, your brain hears it in a different way. So you can actually think and process that information on a whole different level when you're speaking it aloud instead of just keeping it in your mind.
Right.
So I think it's good, whereas, you're being self-reflective and you're kind of speaking these things out loud and just, kind of seeing yourself a little deeper. But I don't think that therapy necessarily can really, like I said, remove trauma from your body.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more surface level, but for the deeper stuff, the ancestral trauma, you need some deeper work there.
Yes.
And is that what shadow work is?
Yes. So my work is based on shadow work, because I've dove into shadow work, and what I've taken away from it is a brand new life, a brand new frequency, a brand new vibration.
Wow.
I'm now able to literally manifest things like that. I mean, I'm living within my divine power. So through my own journey of shadow work, I've learned how to heal my mind and body. I mean, it's a continuous lifelong process. So no one ever gets fully healed. But I mean, I've gone a long way than where I was at.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
And basically, just what shadow work is, I mean, it's shedding light where you might have turned off the light, right? So something happens to you, and let's say you're a kid and you get sexually abused or something. For society and what is appropriate, we're conditioned, stuff that you got to be strong. Don't look at that. That's going to mess you up. You have to keep going. And it's all of these different things that we're conditioned in, right? But really, the power is to look at that, to shed light where that shadow is. Right. So then you can process it and release it. So that chain isn't holding you back anymore. So people really have to do the shadow work if they really want to grow in life. Yeah. Period, point blank. I think it's the basis of everything, of all success. And real success as in you're happy mentally. You're at peace mentally. Yeah. Because you can be outwardly successful and have all the money and all the women and all the blah, 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 blah. But are you really happy with yourself?
Tons of people like that, man. They think money and girls are just the key to happiness. Exactly. And then they get it and they feel lost.
Exactly.
I've seen it so many times.
Oh, exactly my point. Yeah. Exactly my point.
So what exactly does doing shadow work look like for people watching this that are interested in doing it?
So shadow work, I wrote about 46 different ways to do shadow work in my book, The Recipe to Elevated Consciousness. But some modalities, what I've done is used a lot of modalities. So when people used to tell me, stop being so stressed out, just feel better. Just don't be so angry. Just don't be so stressed. It's like, okay, well, don't you think I would want to do that? Don't you think that if I could snap my finger, I could get out of that feeling? I could never do that. So what I started looking for and searching for are things to help you, things that will help assist you get out of these feelings, right? So one of the first modalities I did was brain training. Specifically, it's neurofeedback or neurooptimal, my specific technology that I have. And what that does is it really puts a mirror up to your brain so your brain can see patterns that are not serving your highest good. So your brain is fixing itself in real time. And what you're doing is you're listening to music, and it's doing skips, pauses, and interrupts. And you're literally just rewiring yourself while you're listening to this music. Wow. And I kind of call it like a brain dump because it takes out all the unnecessary thought processes that you have. It helps with focus. It helps with anxiety and sleep. So, I would tell people to look for places that offer neurooptimal. There's things that are free, like EFT, emotional freedom technique. So that's tapping on certain specific energetic points on your body while saying an affirmation into the mirror, or you can even do it without a mirror. And what that's doing is it's rewiring your subconscious so that now you can process these things and let them go and learn to look at these traumas in a different way. Yeah. So what's interesting is I've been through a lot in my life, and I've had a lot of...
That's an understatement, right?
Yeah. I've had a lot of trauma, right? But I can talk about my trauma because it doesn't have an emotional charge on me anymore. Wow. There's no chains that are holding me from my past trauma because I've processed it. I've learned to release that trauma from my body. So now I can speak about all the stuff that I pretty much went through without an emotional charge because I'm okay. I'm here in the present moment. And that's what shadow work does for you. It really brings people into the present moment with no judgment. Yeah. So everybody goes through things in their lives that have caused them to prejudge a moment, right? Triggers. People call them triggers. Okay, because my ex cheated on me, you gonna cheat on me too. Right? Facts. Trigger. And if I start seeing what my ex used to do in you, then you're cheating on me. So what the shadow work does is it helps you to process and let all that stuff in the past go so you can come to the present moment, have no judgment, and literally not take those old triggers and place them upon people who are undeserving. Yeah. Yeah, it's really powerful stuff.
So powerful, because there's some people that live their whole lives with this trauma and they never get it off their shoulder.
I know.
And it eats away at their life force, right?
Disease. It turns into disease. We're at an all-time high of autoimmune disease right now. And what is that? That's your body fighting against your body. It's not supposed to do that. We are intelligent beings. We have 73 trillion cells in our body that are working for us, right? They're supposed to be working for us. Right. Without our conscious thought, we can pump blood to our heart. Our heart is beating all day. We breathe. These avatars that we are in are so powerful, so intelligent, without us even having to think about it. Yeah. So, if you think about, trauma, when you don't deal with it, it creates that inflammation within the system, within your body, and creates autoimmune disease. So many people are walking around with their bodies fighting each other, fighting themselves, because they have not gone through and processed these things. They have these emotional ties that are holding them back. Specifically, when your body goes into a fight or flight response and your nervous system goes into fight or flight, your body releases different hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And those are great hormones if you're running away from a threat and you need to get away from something, or you need to stand and fight, right? But when the nervous system gets stuck in that response, then you're basically flooding those hormones all the time, creating inflammation inside of your body. And the basis of all autoimmune disease is inflammation.
Yeah.
So think about it. I mean, when people are literally stressed out all day, their nervous systems are in fight or flight.
Yes, you basically believe a lot of people are self-sabotaging themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without them even knowing.
Unconsciously.
Right.
Unconsciously. I mean, I was the biggest self-sabotager. I was a self-sabotager until about 8 years ago.
When you met Billy?
Well, no, it was before. It was before I met Billy.
Okay.
But I realized, I became aware. My eyes became open. And I'm like, wow, why would I do this, right? Self-sabotage is just, it's just a response from trying to get out of the way that you feel, right? So it's people that reach for something outside of themselves because they're trying to get away from that feeling. So for me, it was alcohol, it was drugs. I was feeling so empty inside. I literally felt like I had a physical hole in my gut.
Wow.
When I was younger, because I was just reaching for other things. I didn't have any love for myself. So I was filling that love hole up with alcohol and drugs and parties. I was distracting myself from really where my power was to go inward and create that self-love within my own self. So, I mean, a lot of people are stuck like this, and they're running away from their past. They're running away from the pain because they think that by facing these things, it'll be too hard. Yeah. Which is sad, because then they'll end up with debilitating health conditions.
Super sad. I see people partying still, like in their 30s, 40s, and I'm like, wow, you know, everyone goes through that phase, right? I did it in my 20s for a bit, but it's not a sustainable way of living.
No, it's not. And it's just, what are you searching for, right? What are you searching for by going to all these parties and drinking and doing all these drugs? I mean, really, really sit down and ask yourself that question. I mean, why am I having these drinks? Am I having these drinks just to, you know, have a good time and let loose for a little bit? Or am I having these drinks because I'm really anxious and I'm trying to calm myself down? You have to really self-reflect. And that's the beginning of the whole awareness and shadow work process.
And I think that's where people's egos get in the way too, because they'll deny.
Oh, yeah.
But it's your own ego just, you know, fighting back that you do have a problem. You have to admit it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the first step to consciousness, awareness, enlightenment is becoming aware that, you know, you are the cause of the things that you bring into your life. And if you are full of drama and your life is full of drama, well, why are you attracting that drama? Yeah, and drama, you know, growing up in the public education system, drama was something we looked for on a daily basis. We wanted gossip. We wanted to be with popular people or whatever. And I feel like just the public system is a proponent of that narrative. Yeah, I believe that. I mean, the public system, all of these systems, Sean, like, I cannot with these systems. Okay, I mean, unfortunately, my family was they one of the systems, the medical system, they ruined my family. They not ruined it, but they kind of did at the end of the day. I mean, my dad, he died from knee surgery. Damn. Yeah. Knee surgery? Knee surgery.
Did they give him too much anesthesia or something?
Well, he got out of knee surgery, and a week later he died because they gave him the wrong type of medication, which made his blood fill with blood. And yeah, he keeled over and died from knee surgery. My brother has a kidney that's bad, right? So, well, both his kidneys went bad. So my mom actually donated her kidney to him when I was 16. And now that kidney has failed because kidneys don't last forever. And so now he's been on dialysis for 8 years. Terrible. Over something that a doctor could have fixed when he was like 6 years old. Wow. So, and then I watch these things, and I watch it over and over again with different families, and how this system has ruined so many families because it's a practice, right? They're guessing, and they never really get to the root of the problem. It's symptomatic. They always treat the symptom. They never treat the system. They never get to the root of what the issue is. So, I mean, these systems, they're broken that way because you have the big dogs that are obviously gaining. from being able to keep people between sick and healthy. So they have to go back and get that prescription drug every single month. I mean, we all have $1 on our foreheads.
Yeah, we're just a number on a paper, right?
Exactly. So how can we get the most money?
It's terrible. Actually, they tried putting me on ADD medication when I was like 7.
7?
Yeah, my mom was going to do it actually, but one of my parents wanted to do it, one of the other, so I ended up not doing it. Thankfully, right? I would have been a robot. I mean, I was already a robot in school, and now imagine on medication on top of that. I mean,
think about this, right? They tell kids to sit in a classroom for 8 hours. Sit, pay attention, don't goof off. You need to pay attention the whole time, but don't do drugs, right? But then when a kid is energetic and hyper and wants to learn and absorb and be creative, right? The system that shuts down their creativity.
You punish it.
Yes, and then they put them on drugs.
Yep, I got suspended, detention all the time, thinking I was a terrible kid, but in actuality, I was escaping from the system.
Exactly.
And they didn't want that.
Yes. I mean, it's really terrible, to be honest. It's so old school. Let me not say this is terrible. Doctors, teachers, they're all doing what they're trained to do. So unconsciously, they're participating in these systems that are broken, and they've been broken for a really, really long time, I think. I mean, we have to really figure out that children, they live in the brainwave of creativity, right? They're alpha, theta all day. It's creative. They're literal sponges.
Yeah.
So why are we making them sit in one place and look at things on a board when they go home and they look on their phone, they're playing on their pad, look at all that stimulus going into the brain.
Yeah.
Right? So it's when they go to school now, it's even less. They can't even pay attention anymore.
I can't even imagine now because we didn't have smartphones when we were in school, but now it must be terrible being a teacher.
So bad because you literally are battling with the pad and all these different games and all these video games. I mean, it's an incredible amount of stimulus for a brain that has not adapted to that amount of stimulus. They actually did a study on a child's brain, adolescent's brain, after they got done playing 2 hours of a video game. And they compared their brain to an alcoholic's brain. And it was the same.
What?
Yes, it was the same.
Really? From video games?
Yes. So it's like our brains have not adapted for the amount of stimulus that these pads and these screens and these games are throwing at us.
I could see that because I took a 5-year break from video games, and the day I came back, I felt like I was so high.
Yeah.
Because all of that adrenaline or whatever just like shooting in my head. I literally felt like I was high. Like,
I mean, our dopamine receptors these days are getting they're getting overrun and just worn down. Yeah. So it takes more and more and more stimulus for people to become happy. I mean, I even see it, unfortunately, in my son. He's 11. And he loves video games. And I let him, I have a time limit for him, but I let him play because I'm not going to keep him from what society is growing into, right? So, I mean, I let him play for a specific amount of time, but I watch him and he cannot sit still. There is no boredom with these kids these days because it's like torturous to them because the amount of stimulus and then you shut it down and then you have to look around and create that amount of dopamine hitting yourself to feel good. Yeah. I mean, it's
schools are going to have to adapt their teaching styles, I think. Yeah. Make the classes shorter or something because 40-minute periods are too long, especially 8-hour days.
8-hour days.
Does he go to public school right now?
Yeah, he does.
Are you going to keep him there?
No. You know what? That's what I'm not going to do. I was going to talk to a couple of my friends. They have their children in private schools, which Billy and I travel all the time. Yeah. And I'm actually looking at getting in trouble because pulling my son out of school because I took him to Egypt, right? Yeah. So he came to Egypt with us last year and missed about 2 weeks. And then he came to Bora Bora while we got married. And I will never, I don't care how many people I have to fight through the system, I will never make him miss a trip like Egypt, climbing in pyramids and learning what he did out there, to sit in a classroom that's teaching you 1 + 1 on a chalkboard. Like, absolutely, it's just ridiculous to me.
Oh, the school was pissed. He missed a lot of days.
Oh my God, they're really pissed. I mean, and it comes to a point where you actually have to go to court, and they threaten you with jail time and all this type of crazy stuff.
Jail time for missing school?
Yeah, if your kid misses a certain amount of school, it's a law. It's a law in Florida.
That's so jokes. Yeah, I think in Jersey you could miss like 10 days or something.
But that's ridiculous. I mean, how much is my kid going to learn in Egypt compared to the classroom in a day? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, let's think a little deeper here, people. I mean, I absolutely will pull him out again if I were to take another Egypt trip or
I'm like definitely not doing public school. No. I mean, I look at what happened with me and it was just like terrible, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, they make you feel bad.
Yeah.
They make you feel bad for being creative.
I failed marketing class.
Really?
Now I have the #1 marketing podcast in the world.
Oh my God. See what I'm talking about?
I mean, they just don't like when you're different, dude.
No, they don't. They want you to fit in the mold because then you'll follow along, right? You'll be the sheep. You'll do what they tell you to do because they want you to stay unconscious.
Yeah.
Literally as a walking reaction to what's
walking
happening.
reaction. I love that.
That's what people are. They're walking reactions.
Yeah, no, for real. I look back at my first probably 25 years just following the system.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah. And doing what they tell you to do because it's the right thing to do, right? I mean, it's...
Yeah, and it goes on a parental level too, even though our parents love us. It's just like what they were taught, you know what I mean? Get a 9 to 5, and if you don't go to college, you're a loser.
Oh, yeah.
Especially you're Asian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
you know how
I
it
was adopted, but my parents were very strict with me on school and grades. And because they were so strict with me when I was younger, I completely rebelled.
Wow.
All the way. I was like, screw school. I was skipping school all the time. I mean, I almost got expelled out of this one school they put me in. They had to pull me out before I got expelled. It's like, you know, I was like, screw you.
You were a wild Asian. You weren't studying on the weekends.
No, I mean, I got good grades. What I would do is I would skip school and then I would show up for tests and ace them.
Okay.
I mean, I was always smart, but I never liked to do the work. I just, you know.
Yeah. The book smart, it's cool. Like, I respect it, but I respect street smart more.
Yeah.
Like, you have both, which is great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to be a functional human in this. Well, to be a wolf in the community instead of a sheep and not follow along, you have to be street and book smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I see people that are book smart, but then they just suck at business.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they'll get a marketing degree or whatever, and then they can't do anything.
Doesn't make sense to me. I have so many friends that have all these big degrees, and I never finished and got a degree, but I have certificates and different things because it's appropriate, right? I have a certificate from Harvard for cell biology because it's appropriate. I mean, I'm in Dr. Amen's course, this is brain health course right now.
I want to take that brain scan.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, the SPEC scan.
Yeah.
You have to.
I'm going to do that soon.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, everybody jumping into this subject because this is like, the brain is everything, right? So think about people who are in prison. And how many of those people have a brain injury, right? That it's a hardware problem, not a software problem. Like, for instance, there was a story about someone's nephew that was drawing pictures of guns and people hanging and blood, gore, and he actually went onto this baseball field and punched this girl, right? So his parents were like, what the heck? And they took him to get a SPEC scan, found out that he had like a tumor in his brain that was pushing on his left frontal lobe, right? So they got the tumor removed, and then now he's a normal kid. Acting completely normally. So think about the people in prison and how many people snap and do all these different crazy things, right? Is it a hardware problem? Is it a brain problem? Or is it, because they're actually crazy? I always think it has something to do with the hardware or with trauma.
I'd be curious. We should get a brain scan to a prison, test like 100 inmates and see what the ratio is.
Absolutely.
And that'd be interesting because I know Billy was talking about also ancestral trauma, right? 15 to 20 generations.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he said a lot of black people are actually still have a lot of anger because of slavery.
Exactly. It's literally deep inside of your DNA. Like, you incarnate into this vessel with trauma already from ancestors, which is so crazy. And then you come through the birth canal, and whether they hold you as a baby or look at you as a baby or whatever happens to you within that first couple moments of life can dictate how you feel and how you are for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So this is hard. I mean, speaking from experience, I was adopted. So I literally went through a process where I re-experienced my birth again. And because I wanted to know, I have all these abandonment issues, right? And I'm like, why do I always feel so, like I'm literally dying when someone walks away from me or something? It was just so deeply rooted. So in doing shadow work, I found out when I was born, I never saw my mom. I got ripped away. I got immediately just placed down into this little crate type thing and kind of ignored for the first 3 months of my life, right?
Wow.
I'm like, wow, it makes all the sense why I would have abandonment issues now.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's so serious. The trauma that we come into in this life already makes our lives a little bit more difficult because we have to create space between whatever stimulus is triggering and our response, right? That's how we become appropriate humans. Otherwise, you have people that are reacting and snaps, right? That show. People that are killing mofos because they got so triggered and they're out of their mind that they haul off and kill somebody because they have no space between that stimulus and their response. So that's why the shadow work is so important, because it creates that space. So now, even though I get triggered when I feel like someone's abandoning me, I get that body feeling, but now I have the space between that stimulus, so I can make a decision like, hey, this is not babyhood. This is not what's going on here. This is just a normal woo-to-woo, and move on from that feeling, right? And it is necessary for people to do that work. Because, I mean, yes, Billy was talking about 15 generations of trauma. I mean, I know that I have past trauma in my lineage of starvation.
Damn.
Because of food. Like, food gets so triggering to me. I mean, and I study this work, so I know when a trigger is like a normal trigger or when it's a real deep one.
Yeah.
And my parents always fed me growing up, so I never was starving ever growing up. So I'm like, where does this trigger come from? And I would bet you $1 million that it goes deep into my lineage of past, family members.
Wow, that is crazy. I had a past life where I died of a heart attack and I was super stressed, taking care of my whole family.
Yeah.
And I used to get like heart pain in this life, like heart palpitations randomly and like pain. And I got that cleared and I haven't had it since.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that just gave me chills.
Yeah, doing past life work, I highly recommend everyone do it because you never know what happened.
Exactly. You never know what happened. And like I said, once you can get rid of that emotional charge, subconsciously, unconsciously, or consciously, I mean, you are winning at that point. You get the power back once you can literally break free from those emotional chains.
Right.
I mean, and we hold things in our subconscious. So, I mean, all of these abandonment issues that I was going through my whole life, that was laid in my subconscious. And only until I made that connection to, hey, what happened to me when I was born? Maybe this could be something. I mean, I literally experienced the feelings as a baby coming through the canal and wanting my mother so bad and not being able to have that I know those first initial feelings, 0 to 7, you're in theta, which is your subconscious, right? So you're being programmed for the rest of your life. So in those moments, those first moments here in this incarnation, ripped away from the only person that I wanted to be held and seen by, that created a lifelong subconscious trauma for me that I only could clear once I literally visited that part of myself.
Incredible. And being in the womb, you build a biological connection with your mother, right? So I know some adopted people seek out their old parents. Did you try to do that?
No, I tried for a little while, but then it got to be a little bit too stressful. I didn't want to create stress in my life. I just, I think it would be interesting to find my parents, but then at the same time, it's like, I understand what happened. You already came to peace with it. Yeah. But I do, and I am in the process of writing a book about adoption. And I think it's important because a lot of adoptees come out and they don't understand why they have all these issues, why they're so rebellious, why they feel so bad sometimes, why they feel empty.
Right.
And I believe, and I truly believe after healing that part of myself, that a lot of it has to do with the birth process, how they got given away. That's stamped into your body's systems as like, hey, we don't want you. You're not good enough. This is what our consciousness tells ourselves. When we're 2, we don't know these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't know that, no, this was an adult that probably had to do this for our better life. Right? But we can't tell ourselves that when we're that age. All we know is that the only person that we really cared about just abandoned us.
It's tough. There was a girl in my high school that lived in a foster home. I didn't even know for months, but I could just tell she had so many like abandonment issues. Yeah. Because she gravitated towards me so quickly and like she wanted to date and stuff quick. And I was like, this is weird, but she just wanted someone there for her. Yeah. Looking back, it's pretty sad.
Yes, attachment issues. There's attachment. Our attachment styles are created at those ages from 0 to 7. So if we're abandoned, then we're going to have that anxious attachment style where it's like, oh, just hold me, please, just be mine, because we're so afraid to lose. So we overcompensate for attachments because we're so anxious that that person is going to leave us like how we got left when we were little. Right. So all of these different people should study attachment styles. It plays a huge role in life, and especially with partnerships, because an anxious attachment style usually always ends up with an avoidant attachment style, which is like a narcissist and a codependent person. This is a polarity world, right? Yeah. A yin-yang world. So you literally opposites usually attract. and it can get really, really toxic.
Seen a ton of those. Yeah, it gets bad. Yeah, it's good to know your style because then you can understand your partner.
Yes.
Right, because you think you're all the same, but really you're not.
Oh, no.
When you take these tests, you realize you have a certain love language. They have a certain way of showing love. You got to meet in the middle.
Exactly. Everyone is so different according to the things that they have been through in life.
Yeah.
So whereas I might say something that means something to me might mean something totally different to you.
Right.
And it's like, you know, if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, it's so important to understand all of that about the person. So you know at the end of the day, I mean, your main goal is to be with that person, right?
Yep.
So if they say something that's triggering to you and they're just off on their own, doing their own thing, and they're perfectly happy about it, they don't even understand. It's because they don't have your past experiences to create the perception of today's reality.
Yeah, I realized acts of service was my love language because growing up, actually, my parents never told me that they loved me or gave me physical affection. We never hugged each other. So, but on the other hand, my fiance's love language is physical touch. So I had to learn to start doing that.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
right.
So it took a while because
Right.
I never experienced that growing up.
Right, exactly. I mean, people, it's so funny. A wife and a man can be together. A wife and a husband can be together. And the wife is, you know, I don't know, doing the dishes and cleaning up around the house and doing all this stuff. And the man is like, you don't love me. You don't love me because I guess the man's love language is words of affirmation, which hers is acts of service.
Right.
So you can literally have that butting of heads, but you still at the end of the day love each other the same.
Yep.
But it's like you don't understand that other person's love language at all because yours is completely different. So it's so good that you were able to learn that with your fiance because, I mean, now you guys can understand each other on the same level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's people miss a lot. They become toxic in toxic situations and stay in them, and then they miss a lot because of communication issues.
Yeah, those tests are so important, and I also have all my friends take personality tests too.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's important too.
Yeah, there's some interesting ones.
yeah, that's important too. But what's interesting about shadow work is the fact that, and trauma work is the fact that you can change these things with that type of work, right? You can change your personality. You can change your attachment style. I was able to change my attachment style through shadow work. I used to have a horrible, anxious attachment style. And through my shadow work that I've done, I've learned to have a pretty normal attachment style now because I'm filled up and happy within myself. Because what shadow work does is it pours love back into you. So, I mean, when you're so filled up and powerful within yourself, it's like you really don't need all of these outer stimuli to make you feel any certain way because you're so strong within the way that you can make yourself feel.
Absolutely. I love that. Anything you're excited about this year? Any upcoming trips or projects you're working on?
Yes. So we are taking a trip to Turkey, September 1st through the 10th. We're taking about 70 people out to Turkey. And then in October, we're taking a ton of people to Egypt this year, which I hope that you'll be able to make.
I think I'm leaning towards yes.
Really? Oh my God, that would be so. I mean, it's a life-changing tour.
Yeah.
Life-changing. Every single person that we've taken has agreed that it's a life-changing tour.
It's a very spiritual place.
Yeah, it's a really spiritual place. It's a very energetic place. And the connections that we have over there is unlike anybody else.
Yeah,
so we can, get you into places where people aren't allowed in and open up, certain areas for private visits, which people don't really get to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
So,
The real question is, how's the food there, though?
Egyptian food. Okay, it's okay.
Oh, I'm a big foodie. This is hurting me a bit.
Okay, well, you know what? The food that we're going to source from our tours is going to be good because we have private chefs on our boats and we'll get taken to really, really great local places. What we do recommend is people not to go outside of the places that we take them.
Yeah.
So don't go walking on the streets of Egypt and go trying street food.
I made that mistake in Bolivia.
Oh, listen, yeah, people get sick. You got sick?
So sick.
Yeah.
I ate cow heart off like a $2 grill. It was.
Listen, our microbiome is not set up for these other countries.
I don't know what I was thinking there. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So but the food that we provide is good. It's good.
All right, cool. Well, where can people find out more about you?
People can find me on Instagram, Elisabeth, who's spelled with an S-I Carson. And I'm with Forbidden Knowledge. So forbiddenknowledge.com and the number 4,
All right, we'll link it all down below. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, see you tomorrow.